destruction of the Kamal Adwan Hospital and the intimidation of staff and patients. We saw how the IOF murdered Dr. Abu Sofia's son as an act of spite and as an act of intimidation. Despite this, he still remained faithful to his oath as a doctor to persevere in the preservation of human life, honoring the Hippocratic oath. The Kamal Adwan Hospital had over 400 patients and staff, many functional impairments, amputees, bedbound, high dependency patients, and neonatal babies needing full life support. The IOF knew exactly who was working inside and who the patients were. They also refused to allow international humanitarian aid agencies to safely evacuate these patients. Shame! On a daily basis, the IOF sent quadcopters to kill patients and staff, used drones to drop bombs and destroy the hospital infrastructure with everybody inside. IOF cut the water supply, blocked all food and medical aid from entering, and killed those who tried to leave. And bear in mind, very few people were able to make it to the hospital for treatment because there are no ambulances left in Gaza. Only fully able-bodied individuals or those being transported on horse, cart or donkey are able to make it to the hospital. But many still die as they approach the hospital compound gates because the IOF shoot them indiscriminately. Shame! Despite COGAT and IOF statements, they had not been given deconfliction or the required assistance and equipment for safe passage of a place of safety that will persevere civilian life. In the last week, we saw Dr. Abu Sofia's plea for international intervention become more urgent. And yesterday, on the 27th of December 2024, IOF stormed and bombarded the Kamal Adwan Hospital, forcing patients out, stripped naked in the freezing cold, some barefoot, and also killing patients and staff. Shame! The IOF then set fire to the departments and left while staff were still inside. The staff tried to put the fires out, but there was no water because Israel cut the water supply. So instead, they used the fluid for dialysis machines, but this contained chlorine, and many suffered severe burns to their faces and hands, and others were incinerated alive. Shame!
I live in London. I came to today's protest because what is happening in Palestine and in Gaza is a genocide funded by the British government in part and loads of other imperialist countries. And I live in Britain, the belly of the beast, and I have a responsibility to oppose the government of the country I live in and their responsibility as part of this appalling, savage slaughter that is going on in Gaza. In the last few days, we have seen escalating attacks on healthcare workers and hospitals, with the burning and the bombing and the destruction of Kamal Adwan Hospital, the Indonesian hospital, along with all the other healthcare facilities have gone before and then continue to be attacked. I think this is a fact that there's a 3 times more likelihood of being slaughtered if you're a healthcare worker in Gaza. There's also massive more chance of being slaughtered if you're a journalist in Gaza. This is clearly showing that the Israeli army and the Israeli government are intent on destroying people. This is nothing to do with getting Hamas. This is nothing to do with the targets that they are saying they are getting. This is nothing to do with tunnels under hospitals. All of that are lies. What they are trying to do is exterminate the Palestinian people as part of the land grab that has gone on since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and everything since then. What is happening here in Britain is that the IHRA, 5-6 years ago, I can't remember when, enshrined in law the most appalling fact that if you criticize the state of Israel, you are anti-Semitic. This is absolutely far from the truth. People who criticize the state of Israel are criticizing Zionism. They are criticizing occupation. They are criticizing the land grab, the destruction of a people. And what's happening now in the genocide is absolute extermination of a people for a greater Israel. It's no surprise what happened in Syria, and when it happened, it's no surprise what's happening with the bombing of Yemen. Anyone who supports the Palestinians are under attack. But here in Britain, we have to recognise that there's also massive poverty for working class people, for migrants, for people of colour. There's racism here in Britain. There are people at food banks, there are people facing homelessness, and we have to make the link between Britain as an imperialist country, a capitalist country, supporting the Zionist state of Israel in their genocidal activity against the Palestinians, and at the same time making working class lives in Britain harder and harder. These two things are linked. We must fight the system, we must fight for justice for Palestine, we must start for the liberation of Gaza and the return of the land to the people whose land it is.